which is knowledge culture, January 14, 2023. Dealing with today's supreme mathematics, technology, and culture. One thing about knowledge is it puts you in a seat of having to go study. It puts you in a mode of having to go learn and analyze and assess and evaluate and observe things from different angles. The thing about knowledge as well, it leads you into the idea of once the things that you've learned and obtained through acquiring and reading, visual, audio, those are now in your archive mentally, as well as physically, because now as time goes on, you begin to understand why that knowledge is pertinent and imperative to your life. Now, when we deal with culture, we're dealing with, customs, traditions, skill sets, symbols, signs, language, history, art, all types of things. So overall, your culture is your way of life and how you do things and how you operate and how you function on a day-to-day basis. It's basically your pattern of behaviors. So when we're dealing with today's mathematics, which is supreme mathematics, which is knowledge in your culture, it's studying your ways of behavior. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like psychology on yourself of learning how you function and operate through other people's eyes. You feel what I'm saying? So now, when we're dealing with knowledge in your culture, knowledge in your ways of behaving, how you talk, how you walk, your mannerisms, your etiquette, your adaptation, your adjusting, your environmental influence, the things that happens and cause you to react or either respond. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that are the elements of your culture. So when you are dealing with different elements of your culture, you're dealing with different ways of how you behave, function, and operate in different skill sets and environments. So let's just say, for instance, let's just say you're a free thinker, you know what I'm saying? And you are now in an area where you're dealing with Christianity. Now, not forcing your way of life on that person, but you're giving some type of direct influence, or you're accepting their way of life. You just want them to understand yours and where you're coming from. So when it comes down to knowledge in your culture, a lot of individuals study the way people behave and function. And there are certain people in the world that function in a way where it's not conducive to their growth and development and can cause more pain, torment, and turmoil than any progress and production way may happen. So what do I mean by that? So when we're dealing with today's degree in the 1 to 40, it says, who's the 85%? It says, they are the uncivilized people, poisonous animal eaters, slaves of mental death and power, those who do not know the true living God, their origin in His word, and worship what they know not. Those who are easily led in the wrong direction, but hard to lead in the right direction. Now, mind you, I want you guys to understand something. This lesson or this degree does not say anything about savage. It says somebody that's uncivilized, that don't know any better. They don't know how to properly function and operate in society and in different environments and be able to adapt and adjust to certain areas of life because they don't have the tools. They don't know how to function in that area. Like, for instance, you might have a person that, every time they get a job, they always getting fired because they always want to cuss out the boss instead of learning how to humble themselves and learning what humility is in order for them to keep and maintain and sustain their job. These are things that they don't know. So in order for them to know, we have to give them the knowledge of how to learn and to adapt and adjust into those different type of environments and areas of life, because it's going to do you more good than harm. You feel what I'm saying? So now it says poisonous animal eaters. Now, poisonous animal eaters is in regards to basically pork, swine, anything that takes away from the vitality of life. You know what I'm saying? Poisonous. That could be anything that's foreign. Like, we don't eat, what I'm saying? We're not supposed to eat fucking, duck and shit like that, and certain types of fish, because it could do us more harm than good. It does not provide vitality to the body. So this is why it says poisonous animal eaters. Then it says slaves of mental death and power. Now, the slaves of mental death and power is fallen victim, is fallen subject to everybody's fashion, trend, and way of living. In other words, you're following instead of learning how to lead. Because now you're in a situation where everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody sagging their pants, I'm sagging my pants. Everybody wearing tight-ass jeans, I'm wearing tight-ass jeans. Everybody, saying, yo, that's off the clock, nigga, I'm saying that's off the clock. You're not really setting the trend or blazing the trail. You're just following because you're a slave to what certain trends and certain fashions and certain genres and certain dogmas. And so now you sit and stick to the script instead of standing out. You know what I mean? Those who don't know the true and living God, the true and living God is somebody that is a physical, that's a manifestation of divine energy expressed physically, which is basically a man. So we're talking about the origin or your place in this world. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about it is not knowing your place and what your purpose is in this world is basically knowing your origin. What is the reason why you are here? What is your purpose? What is your duty? What is your obligations? What are the responsibilities? What are the things that you have to do in order for you to constantly keep elevating to the next level as a person? You feel what I'm saying? Those type of things as well. Knowing your place, position. Some people just saying like, well, I'm just here because, my mother, had sex with my father and, he wasn't ever in my life and I'm just the only person here. So now I don't have my mom. And, they might not know their place or position in this world. You know what I'm saying? Origin denotes source and place. So when it comes down to worshiping what they know not, basically that's following something that you have no knowledge of. Getting involved in certain things in life that you don't know that it can do you a whole lot of harm and can do you a disservice rather than do you a service. Because what's going to end up happening is it's going to end up causing you to put yourself in a victimization situation where you're now falling victim to these environmental situations where, like for instance, you might be in a gang. Now, just because that gang starts sliding and is doing certain shit, you got to start doing the same shit too now because you worshiping what you know not. You did not know that once your fucking gang and your crew starts running in and going out, you got to run in and run out with the motherfuckers regardless of who what because you took an oath. That's worshiping and following blindly what you know not. You don't know that these are the rules and laws that are not mentioned in these lessons. See, so when you don't get the full-fledged story of how things are operating on the physical surface and mentally and subconsciously, you don't have a way of disfiguring or deciphering or breaking it down or analyzing it critically and logically and using deductive reasoning, then you're going to end up falling victim to something that you have no knowledge of because you have not studied it. You have not acknowledged it, or you have not learned, looked, observed, analyzed, assessed, evaluated, or even logically or critically thought about the situation at hand and where it could place you in life. You feel what I'm saying? It's not only just about, the 85% being, uncivilized is a place where you don't have proper mannerisms, you don't have proper social etiquette, you don't know the way of how to live life properly and in a way where it could be conducive and elevating to your growth and development as a man or a woman because now you have the proper tools. Now, that might be also based on your environmental influence, your upbringing, your, how you learned, was you educated, was you trained? These are things that play a factor in being uncivilized. You feel what I'm saying? So it's not just certain aspects of life where, you're just an uncivilized individual. It's also different dynamics of how you became uncivilized or what makes you uncivilized. You feel what I'm saying? So understand this. When it comes down to knowledge in your culture, knowledge of who you are, and study your way of living and your pattern of behavior, see if it's honest with yourself and see if it's part of your characteristics, your part of your personality of who you really are as a man or woman. You feel what I'm saying? You could be building on your power or you could be destroying your power. It's all up to you. The truth shall set you free. The truth has no respect of persons. The truth is the truth, whether you want to regard it as right or not. It's going to stand on its own and it has its own square, and it needs nobody to advocate for it because it advocates for itself. So always know who you are and how you live your life. And be real with yourself. Nobody's going to be real as a person that's looking in the mirror at themselves every single day, which is who? You. Peace.